Nova Welsh, a 24-year-old mother of two who lived in Birmingham, England, disappeared without a trace in July 1981. No one knew what happened to her until 3 weeks later, when her rotting body was found in a storage closet at her own house. Detectives began looking into the case, but it took 36 years before they finally found something. Unbeknownst to the police, Nova's killer had been close by the whole time, which was shocking. Now the question is who this person was and what made them kill Nova. Hi, and welcome back to our channel. If you are new here, please consider subscribing, as it helps us motivate to create more intriguing content for you. Let us look at the Nova Welsh case, a cold case that was solved 36 years later by eating gum. Today's case will take us to Birmingham, England, a city in the urban county of the West Midlands. Nova was born in Jamaica in 1957, and her little sister was named Valerie. Everyone in the neighborhood liked Nova because she was carefree and happy. Lorna Edmond, who was her best friend, said that she always had a bright personality and a smile on her face. Nova's mother, Lorna Welsh, was brave enough to move her girls to the UK when they were 10 years old so that they could have better chances. It was a hard choice because they had to leave behind people they knew and places they loved. But Lorna's desire to give her children the best life possible was what kept them going on this trip. So Nova moved to the UK with her mother and sister to start a new part of their lives. Even though their new setting was very different from what they were used to, the family was able to get used to it and feel at home in it pretty quickly. Around the time she was 16, Nova met Osmond Bell, who was the same age as her, and they fell deeply in love. Their love for each other grew quickly, and Nova left her family home to move in with Osmond. 2 years later, they had their first child, Jonathan. 4 years later, they had another boy, Lee. Nova was a devoted and conscientious mother who deeply loved her children unconditionally. While striving to support their expanding family, Nova took on a part-time cleaning job, and Osmond found employment in the same building. Initially, their situation seemed promising. However, as time passed, the once strong bond between Nova and Osmond started to deteriorate. Their relationship became marked by frequent arguments and instances of violence. Nova told her younger sister Valerie and close friends about how hard things were getting for her. She finally chose to end the relationship and look for love elsewhere. In May 1981, she met a guy named Wayne Newby, which was the start of a new love story. Despite the worsening state of their relationship, Osmond refused to let go of his connection with Nova. Their conflicts escalated as they fought more intensely. During a visit from Nova's stepsister Sonia, a distressing incident occurred. Osmond choked Nova, which made their already dangerous situation even worse. After the fight with Sonia, the fear of calling the police forced Osmond to leave the house. Nova felt better when he was not there, and she hoped that things would get better. Now she could spend more time with Wayne and not worry about running into an angry Osmond. On the fateful night of July 24, 1981, Nova made plans for her two boys, Jonathan and Lee, to stay with their father, Osmond, so she could go dancing with Wayne and some friends. She left her kids with their father and went to the club, where she had fun and felt free. As night fell, Nova said goodbye to Wayne and their other friends and headed back to her apartment. No one knew, sadly, that it would be the last time they would see her alive. The next morning, Nova's neighbors Carmen and Wendell Turner, who lived in the flat below hers, heard a fight coming from above. Nova was crying, but the noise eventually stopped. Later that night, another neighbor saw Nova looking obviously upset. Around 12:30 am, almost 7 hours after midnight, a loud bang from above woke up Carmen and Wendell. They did not know what was making the noise at that time, and then they heard a second bang that sounded like a door being kicked in. They stayed alert because they thought there would be more trouble, but there was only quiet. When they finally went to bed for the night, they did not know what the sounds they had just heard meant. On Monday, July 27, 1981, People in Birmingham were going about their daily lives like they did every other Monday. However, Nova did not show up for work that day or the next, leaving everyone unaware of her whereabouts or having seen her. Around that time, Nova's mother, Lorna, and her sister, Valerie, moved forever from the UK to Miami, Florida, in the US. They did this in the hopes that Nova and her children would one day join them. Once they were in Miami, they tried to get in touch with Nova, but they could not reach her. They started to worry. Valerie Welsh, Nova's best friend, remembered that we tried to call her to let her know we were okay, but we never heard back. Lorna was one of the first people to notice that Nova was not there. Nova knew her friend so well that it was impossible for her to ignore her calls and disappear for several days. Lorna thought there must be a real reason for everything, though. After giving it a lot of thought, she decided to go to Nova's place and find out the truth. When she got to the door, she found it locked. Even though she kept knocking and calling Nova's name, no one answered. Lorna did not understand what was going on and wondered if her friend had left the country without telling anyone. But something else caught her eye and made her feel uncomfortable. Nova's freshly washed clothes were drying on the line, which was odd because she always took them off as soon as they were dry. Lorna was very aware of this strange thing, which told her that something was wrong. Lorna decided to call Osmond and ask where Nova was one last time to see if she was right to be worried. But he told her that he had not seen her and that he was taking care of their 2 children. Lorna went to the police station and officially reported her friend as missing after learning this sad news. On August 9, 1981, it had been 2 weeks since Nova had disappeared without a sign. The police started looking for her right away and did not waste any time. They tried to get in touch with Nova's close friends, but none of them knew where she was. Officers also talked to Osmond. They asked him when he had last seen Nova and why he had not told anyone about her missing sooner. In answer, Osmond said he thought she had either left with her new boyfriend or moved to the United States with her family. On August 12, 1981, 3 days after Lorna told the police that Nova had gone missing, she found a letter in her mailbox. Lorna thought it was from a cousin at first, but when she opened it and read what was inside, she quickly realized she was wrong. The letter talked about a fight between Nova and a man she was with right before she went missing. The fight was seen by the author's boyfriend. The letter said that the man had grabbed Nova and hit her with force. Lorna was confused because she did not know who wrote the letter since the writer had chosen to stay anonymous. But from the information in the letter, Lorna figured out that the writer was probably a woman. She gave the letter to the police right away without hesitating, and they turned their attention to Wayne, who Nova had been dating before she went missing. But when asked, Wayne insisted that he had no idea where Nova was or where she was going. In August 1981, a strong and unpleasant smell in Nova's house led a concerned neighbor to call the police. Upon arrival, the officers discovered that the smell was most concentrated in Nova's locked apartment upstairs. They had to break down the door to gain entry. Inside, the house was in disarray with dust and spiders everywhere. The source of the smell was a broken cupboard lock held together with chewing gum. Inside the cupboard, they tragically found Nova's decaying body covered with a blanket and papers. An autopsy revealed that she had died due to pressure on her neck. Initially, Osmond was arrested but later released due to insufficient evidence. However, in 2014, DNA found on the gum and letter seal implicated Osmond, resulting in his rearrest. Despite maintaining his innocence, Osmond was ultimately found guilty of manslaughter and sentenced to 12 years in prison. This provided Nova's family with closure after 36 years of uncertainty. Nova's situation was very sad because she did not get to watch her kids grow up. Even though it took a long time, it is good that the person who killed her has been found and punished. But why do you think Osmond did not confess, even though there was so much proof against him? Tell us what you think in the comments, and do not forget to like and subscribe.